my new Quechua 2 seconds 2-man tent. You can see the specifications on there. I'm buying it to replace my old Quechua 2 seconds 1-man tent that I bought 10 years ago. It's finally given up the ghost. It's seen some very good service. Yeah, so I thought I would have another one. Technology has moved on, so now the 2-man tent is very nearly as small pack size as the 1-man. I have some requirements for my camping in that I go on a motorcycle, so the disc size needs to be narrower than the luggage on my motorcycle. I also use it for canoe camping. I think both of those have in common is weight isn't really an issue, within reason. So you wouldn't want to take this backpacking. It's 3.3 kilos, it's a bit numb, but for sticking on the back of a motorbike, sticking in a canoe, the speed that these go up is certainly valuable. Yeah. So I've not opened this at all. So we'll have a look at it and see how it goes. There's a strap here. I'm not sure what that's for. We'll find out in due course. So unzip the bag. We'll lift the tent out. The card does have instructions, which seem so that's parts and that's instructions. There are pegs in a little pocket in the bag. I'm still not sure what that strap's for, but we'll, as I say, we'll have a look. So, assuming it's very similar to my previous one, this is the safety strap. So, you know, we'll take that off and then keep a careful hold of it from this point because things can hit you in the face. Yeah. And I had an impression about that, so there are several clicking buckles which stop it popping all the way and apparently make them easier to repack. So we'll undo those. More, or is that it? That's great. That is it. It's on. So yeah, that's your tent up, and in most conditions you can just sleep in it like that. The weight of your gear will hold it down. What I might do is just pop up my old one so you can get a comparison of how quickly that one went up and the overall size of it. And what I'm liking about this one is it's quite a lot bigger. I'll move this back. So for a very similar pack size but quite a lot lighter, this was the 1-man, which, as I say, is kind of broken now, very broken, so it can probably go in the bin when we're finished with this, but that's the size of the 1-man tent. Compared to the new 2-man. I've got a lot more height, a lot more width, broadly similar length. Right, we'll get rid of this. So this one is advertised as a fresh and black, so it should be dark inside and cool in the summer. So it has extra vents Some of the others don't. By all accounts, these clip down if you want to be wind and waterproof in the winter. It has a vent on the rear, and I believe the back, yes, the back unclips and can be lifted up. Even from the inside, there is a zip, so you can reach through and do that while you're camping. Another vent on this side. And obviously the front door, there's a sort of awning type arrangement at the front, which should keep a lot of the rain off the door, which was always a problem on the other one, as if it was wet and raining, when you opened the door, water ran straight in. Okay, so one of the other features of these tents, which is one of the reasons I'm buying another one, is despite what you would think, and despite how they're often advertised, they're actually remarkably good in foul weather. I've seen these things up literally in force 10 storms in North Wales at a motorbike rally, and while they do tend to blow flat a little, because they're pop-ups, they pop back up again. I would say at that particular camping outing, half the tents were destroyed, but the Quechua pop-ups did their job. They're very waterproof, so if this one's as good as the last one, I should be very pleased. So in that instance, they will need to be pegged out, so I'll go ahead and do that. So, as with previous models, there's a pocket inside the bag, which has straightforward steel pegs. Again, for me, weight's not an issue. I suppose you could use something much more lightweight than aluminium if you wanted to try and reduce weight somewhat. You should also have somewhere some guy ropes. Something there. Okay, so there's another pocket, which does indeed have guy ropes. Okay. So we're paid down with loops front and back, which makes it look more tent shaped. These back loops are I'm not sure if you can see that, there we go. These back loops are attached to the frame, which is presumably to assist with the ability to lift up the back of the tent, so you can probably reach them from the inside. Now then, guy ropes. Here we have entirely sure what these blue things are for. Aha! The side's got it up here. Okay, that's interesting. There appears to be a... I'm not sure what that's for either. Anyway, this is much the same as on the original. The original's just a fixed guy rope. I thought it was maybe adjustable, but it doesn't seem to be. They want to go both sides. Okay, so that's it fully up. The this tent effectively has two modes. It has the fully locked down winter setting where all the flaps are closed, everything's tied down, but it's also designed for use in summer because I don't know about you, but I always hate being chased out of my tent by the sun. It turns from far too cold into a sauna. This tent should be A, black, and B, relatively cool, so that there's the ability to ventilate it. So we have vents in various places. There are vents on the side here. You'll see in winter are hooked down to the main frame, and they can be unhooked. And we found the mystery of what these blue things are. They can be hooked onto the guy rope there, which will hold this flap up to allow ventilation through into the inner. They can also be rolled up out of the way and tied. Okay, so from the front, here's the tent fully pegged out with our two front guy ropes. This is going to be a very useful addition. As I say, the previous tents, the rain used to run straight down the door, so if it was raining and you opened the door, the rain just dropped straight into the tent. It could wet your sleeping bag. This should go at least some way to removing that. Because of the pop-up design, they can't have a proper porch. We'll open it up and have a look. So we'll have our front door. It does roll up. I'll be honest, I usually just stuff it down the side. And then we'll have our inner tent. And that's what makes these Quechua tents better than most of the professional tents, in that it has a full inner tent which is hanging down from the outer. This really reduces condensation, fly sheet strike through, and in Scotland is utterly essential that you have a sealed in inner tent to keep the midges out. It has a tanked ground sheet, and unlike many modern tents, it's of the very heavy duty, Russell-y, Hessian backed type, which is quite robust. We're not going to poke holes through that very easily with sticks. So again, big round inner door, and I like the way it hangs down out of the way when we do that. So you can see plenty of room to get in and out, and that is looking quite a spacious tent. Because I'm just over 6 foot, so I can lie in it, which is all I want. I will be using this as a one-man tent, but in fairness, there is sufficient room for two people. So I might ask my lovely wife to join me. Show us how.
You can see if it's big enough for two.
See if it's big enough for two. Don't spill tea in it, please. There we go.
Nice and cozy.
What,
Oh,
Dave?
it's nice and dark. Oh,
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's dark.
It's dark, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks.
In fairness, what I do find is, with my other one, is you are better to have your head at this end when you get in, and feet at that end. But yes, ample space. As Catherine correctly pointed out, it is nice and dark in here. I have options of vents. So there are zip-up vents on the side here, which correspond with the openings in the fly sheet. So if I want to have airflow, I can have airflow right the way through the tent if midges aren't going to be an issue, or I can keep this mesh zipped down and still have an increased airflow right through, which should really reduce the risk of condensation. There is a feature for opening the back as well. So we have a zip here which can be opened and then I can reach through and unclip the back, which would probably be best to look at from there. Okay, so I'm inside the tent. It's a roasting hot day. I don't want to get up yet. There's midges everywhere. I have a small zip inside that I can undo and reach through. I undo a clip here, and I can reach and unhook these elastics from the tent pegs. I now have a string inside that I can pull. And we now have some daylight. I'm still midgie proof, and we have some more ventilation. I'm really quite impressed with that. So here's the tent. We'll do a walk around with it in full summer mode. Obviously we've got the front door open. We do still have that little bit of an awning which helps stop dew or very light rain going inside the tent. You can see there's not a very big porch. There's enough to put your boots in. That's just part of the design of the things. If we come round this side, this is the vent fully open and open through into the inside of the tent. So we have air circulation through there. All of these vents are openable from inside the tent, which is nice attention to detail really. I'm quite impressed with that. If we come around the other side, as I say, I camp a lot in Scotland, so midges are definitely a factor. Occasional showers of rain are also a factor, so I might want ventilation but to be rainproof, so I can deploy them like this, and we can leave the inner tent zipped up shut. That is going to see some use, that feature. And as we come round to the back, we have that rear area lifted up, so we've got the inner tent exposed, some mesh for air circulation. So yeah, quite impressed with that. Okay, and here's a walk around with the tent in full rain mode. As you can see, the front door's shut. The fabric of these tents is extremely waterproof. The hydrostatic head is such that you can actually, if the outside is wet, you can still touch the inside without water coming through. They're very good that way. My old one was, and they wouldn't have got worse. You see the sides are well tied down. I have a slight worry that we might get some wind trying to open these areas. Time will tell. I might have to come up with something a little more robust if I'm going to take it out in very foul weather camping in the winter. I could just see wind and rain blowing up through here. I'd say time will tell. There's the back, peg back down. We do have a vent there still, but obviously that's a rainproof vent. And back round the side. So overall, I'm quite impressed. I say just the slight concern will be have rain coming in these side areas. I can probably do something about that if it does happen. It seems pretty robust. I would take that in some pretty nasty weather and be happy that I was going to stay warm and dry, keep all my gear safe. Yeah, I suppose now the thing is taking it down, because the reason I really like these is because they are quick and easy. So if you're having a quick one night camp, you can arrive late, throw it up, put all your gear in, have a good night's sleep, and then when you want to leave, very quickly take it down. We'll see how that goes. Okay, the next step, taking it down. This is where people really struggle with pop-up tents. And it's why I'm putting this up now, because there's a knack to taking them down. They are quick, they are easy, but if you've not practiced it, you're going to be having problems. Yeah, you could be driving home with a popped up tent in your car, as I've seen people do. So it's worth reading instructions, watching a video like this one, just so you can see how it's done. Once you've got the knack of it, it's quite easy, but it's not something to go into unprepared. Neither it should be with any tent. You need to learn how to put them up and down. So you're not trying to learn how to do it when you're in a pushing a survival situation. It could be blowing a gale, howling wind down, and you could be in trouble. But if you can take it down quickly and easily, it's only going to get you away from there quicker. Okay, so I'll probably speed some of this up. You don't need to see me tying up guy ropes, but we'll see how long it takes. This is the first time I've ever tried it. I haven't actually read the instructions. We may have to come back to that, but I have had this type of tent before, so I have a good general idea of how they work. Okay, and I think we have the idea of what this additional black toggle's for. It was for trapping the guy rope. Okay, that's all of our guy ropes stowed and pegs out. So I see the pegs have a little little pouch in the tent bag. I should perhaps just get a separate bag for these, but that does the trick. It keeps it all in one place. Okay, we have these colour-coded clips, which is equally useful for something. So. Okay, having read the instructions, they don't stow like the old ones. I'm not convinced I like this method of stowing, although it should make it very user friendly. It's got a sort of guided packing system. What I don't like about it is that you need to leave the tent open and step inside it to use that system. If I'm putting this tent away in the wet and I want to take it out again, I want to leave the thing zipped up tight and dry inside. I don't want to be stepping into it with my dirty wet boots and letting water in if I'm going to have to use it again later on in the day. However, we'll do it this way and then we'll see if we can do it another way. So we go inside the tent and there is a red handle which we pull to the outside. And there are two red clips which we pull onto there. Then there are some yellow clips which are at the back, and we clip those on. Or at least attempt to. Okay, now we're supposed to pull this red handle, which forces it to bend over. Then we can pull the tent over like that, and we have it ready to put the safety strap round and put it back inside the bag. I'm not going to do that this way. I don't like it. So the design is exactly the same as the older ones. And what we did with those was there are essentially 4 rings to them, which we pull into the middle. We have the 2 front ones and 2 back ones. This used to be the knack of pop-up tents, was holding one ring inside the other. Then we turned it 90 degrees, and by pushing down on the centre, it can be folded into the middle. And that has just achieved what the clips and pulls did previously. I usually hold it then between my legs, put the safety strap on, and we're ready to put it back in the bag. I normally achieve that by kind of rolling them in. we're ready to zip it up. And there we have it. That should be as quick and easy as I hoped it would be. The guided packing system does work. That will make it much easier for somebody that's not sure what they're doing. I say I don't like it because the door stays open and you have to go inside the tent to take it down. But it can be put away in the more conventional fashion too, so that's not a problem. I'm still not sure what this is for. It's maybe just to attach it to your gear. That may end up getting cut off because it will be in the way for my I'll flap about on the bike. We'll see how we get on with it. But no, that should do the job. Hopefully this one lasts another 10 years like my original tent did.